For our next segment, we have Pubali Chaudhuri, who will read a small excerpt from her short film Chithhi. Before we begin, can you tell us where in the film are we at this point?
We're kind of nearing the midpoint. So the short film revolves around the idea that there's an elderly woman living alone at her home in Kolkata. And it's just a regular day, and a salesman comes calling in, and he kind of imposes himself because he wants to make a sale. And before this scene, we've seen that the man was left alone in the room for a while, and he would have reached out for the woman's wallet, which was lying around. After that, their conversation ensues. He manages to sell some things, and now the lady is trying to give him the money, the payment, and she can't find the wallet. So the preceding scene has been her trying to find where her wallet is.
Lovely. So let's begin. Interior living room day. Reveal. Probal is back in the living room. He walks towards the center table and moves a newspaper deliberately to pick up a worn-out wallet. He calls out,
Mashima. That's like saying auntie.
Interior living room moments later, naming. Chithhi sits down on the sofa and takes out some currency notes from her purse.
Oh, you got it? I was worried that I've lost it.
The woman hands out some currency notes to the salesman. Probal brings out a voucher pad and starts writing out the bill.
Whose name should I make this bill in?
Chithhi says,
Chithhi Chaudhuri. Wait, make it in my son's name. Shujoy Chaudhuri.
Probal looks towards the framed photo of the young man on the bookshelf. Probal says,
Is he in college? Pura din aap akele ghar pe?
Chithhi says, smilingly,
नहीं, वो कब का पुराना photo है. Shujoy would be your age, settled in US. I have a granddaughter too. How about you? Do you have kids?
So this is in a way slightly more explanatory. We're still understanding this character and the backstory of her son.
Right. So when
expositionary.
Yes, because when the salesman comes in, nobody has opportunity to tell about their life story. And now that they've spent a little time, and they've formed some kind of a bond. And as elderly people are prone to, they talk a bit more, right? And they talk a bit more than necessary. So I felt it goes with the character that she starts talking, and because she stays alone, and there's an indication of no, I do have a family, only that they stay far away. Although I would like to say that this is what the scene reads on page, but the entry point of this scene actually changes in the film. So if our listeners, audience actually ever check out the film, that'll be an interesting exercise to see how a scene evolves from the page to the screen.
Absolutely.
Whereas the gist remains the same. Anyway,
do check out the film. It's on YouTube, on Pocket Films' YouTube channel. Please check it out. It's a lovely film. Moving ahead with the scene. Probal nods with a smile as he writes out the voucher. Probal says,
the lady has just asked, do you have a kid? And he answers, Rumpi.
Chithhi says,
Oh, bas ek hi ladki.
The man now looks a bit defensive, having heard this question many times before. Probal says,
he just mumbles, Actually, the film is in Bangla, but I'm reading out in a mix of English and Hindi.
He tears out the bill from the voucher pad and holds it out for her. The old lady continues talking as she takes the bill in her hand. Chithhi says,
Don't misunderstand. I also love my granddaughter. But this one kid...
Her mind seems to be drifting somewhere. Chithhi's eyes now fall on the voucher.
Oh, but the spelling is wrong.
Probal is packing up stuff from the center table. He looks questioningly at her. Now what?
Please make a fresh bill.
Probal says,
What?
She replies,
Chaudhuri. The Chaudhuri surname is spelled wrong.
Probal is a bit exasperated, but reins it in. Client after all. He forces a smile and starts writing out a fresh bill as he spells out Chaudhuri.
Chaudhur.
Sound of an alarm on Chithhi's phone.
Oh, there goes my alarm.
She switches it off.
R-I, Not Y. And this is where the scene ends.
What was the significance of this part of the scene where she is very particular about how the surname is spelled?
Right. I think it works at two levels. Primarily for the audience and for the film, this is, like I'm saying, this is almost arriving at the midpoint of the film, but it is also doing an expository thing about the character.
Yeah.
That she's so particular, she's a bit controlling. Otherwise, who the hell cares about a salesman writing, one bill, whether the surname is spelled incorrect? But like, there's probably a backstory. She could have been a headmistress, or she could have been, it's a particular kind of person, with, really being anal about things that no. And elderly people also, or certain types can be a bit unreasonable, right? No, I need it right. Her fixation with this detailing is kind of revealing her character. And in fact, in the context of the film, this scene is really interesting because there is a sense that the salesman might have stolen some money from the woman's purse.
Yes.
So the scene begins, and the audience already has a sense of that. So the scene begins with the salesman being a bit on the defensive and trying to cover up and all of that. But at the same time, without giving out the full story of the film, this is also a key scene which we later see how it plays out in the climax. And it's a film centered around lies and deceit.
Yes.
And this is actually where I am setting it up for the climax reveal.
Absolutely.
Right. So what seems like just general rambling from an elderly woman talking a bit too much, and also showing her, personality in being very specific about, no, my name spelling has to be right, etc. But it's a mix of exposition, whereas I also plant in very critical information, which pays off in terms of my plot.
It's a great stepping stone to what we're about to see.
Right, what we are about to see.
Please do catch this film on YouTube. You'll understand what Pubali ji is talking about.